All right, we're back in the lab, and we have the Recoil Audio SWS12 for review. This is the woofer, which is basically, it's a little bit smaller than their original version as far as the magnet goes, but I think it's about a maybe 250 watt subwoofer. Very basic. It's probably sold by lots and lots of people, and for OEM you really don't need much, especially at this price point. On Amazon right now it's going for about, I think, $139. And I think we have one left, and we sell them just for 100 because it's a B stock. And then, but typically something like this would sell for probably about $200, maybe even $300 from a, brand like, whatever, JL Audio especially would be even more than that, or Rockford Fosgate or something like that. Again, the woofer doesn't know what brand it is. This ends up coming with a grill, a built-in amplifier, which I'll show you here in a second, and the enclosure is MDF, and the enclosure is ported. So, and you got to remember too that the guys that are running Recoil right now also used to own, or control, I should say, Diamond Audio, as well as Servo and Vega Mobile, and then also a little known brand, house brand for Best Buy called Fierce. And that's where the connections come from about having the enclosures, because they used to make knockdown enclosures for Best Buy, and they would sell them. So they use the same factory, and then they just do a vinyl wrap and some other stuff I'll show you here in a second. But I wanted to show you the TSPs right off the bat. So really good low FS, 2.8 ohms. Again, you can call this 3 ohms or something like that, whatever you want to call this. And just so you know, when the designer or even the marketing people decide on what the impedance should be called, it can be above this, it can be below this. It doesn't really matter that much if it's off by even a half an ohm or even by 1 ohm. The amplifier is still going to perform pretty much the same. Sometimes they do things in order to manipulate the amplifier. So I think this amplifier is actually it's a BTL, balanced tie load, and then it's bridged. And I think the minimum impedance on it is 1.5 per channel, but it's bridged, so it should be about 3 ohm. And here it is at 2.8, and they're still sort of riding the gun, in that low frequency. This is the minimum at was it 2.8? 2.8 is right there. So that's right in the base frequency. Now, in the rest of the frequencies that you're probably going to hear, which is 50 hertz and below, that's going to be fine because it goes up to what? 15, 16, 17 ohms right near the FS. So, which is 27 hertz. Now, the box is probably not going to be tuned for that. It's probably going to be tuned for about 35, maybe even a little bit higher, because a lot of, I don't want to say normies, but a lot of people in the mainstream prefer that because they listen to older music, which has a lot of kick drum, like Seeger and the Silver Bullet Band or something like that. So, and then look at the SPL. SPL is quote unquote low. It's fine. It doesn't need to be super sensitive or anything like that. The most notable thing on here is probably the VAS, which is, I don't want to say is large, but it's a little oversized. If you go back and look at the story time that I did for the Jensen handprint subwoofer, that was a 12-inch woofer with about a 26 FS, and then the VAS was like 7 cubic feet. That's way too big. So, but this sub would be good. It would still work in a sealed box. You would just need a little bit of equalization, but it could still play to 27, of course, especially if you went into a little bit smaller box than 3.4 cubic feet. What this would really be good for is home theater, and that's probably what it is, and it can be marketed by another company that probably puts this same woofer in a home theater cabinet or something like that. So, but I'm going to show you, there's the thumbnail is going to have the finished goods, and then I'll show you the enclosure here in a second. All right, so I lied. This is the amplifier. So this is the amplifier section. There's the controls. Now remember, the last remaining stock on these do not have auto sense. The next version will. And so to compensate, the guys there at Recoil feel kind of bad because they feel they're responsible, and they kind of take responsibility for that. So they include like I think it's a $30 or $40 LOC, and then they also include an 8-gauge wiring kit. And we had to go through every one of those and put in those two things in order to compensate for that, because the LOC has built-in music sense. But when I talked to some of the engineers about what they were going to do, this is supposed to look like the Rockford Fosgate version, which I don't think I've shown you, but I'll see if I can find. Oh, there's one right off the corner of my eye. This is the Rockford Fosgate version. This is actually pretty badass. So this one uses plugs, which I don't like. They later, in later versions, they changed this to two 15 amp fuses. And this does about 350 watts. It's actually very powerful, but it doesn't even have a heatsink. This is a big switcher. You do got to get it down to 1 ohm or even half an ohm. I forget how they have theirs set up, but in order to get the current out of it and then all that kind of stuff. This is what I thought they were going with, but this is a more abbreviated version, and so they went with just a regular Class AB. I mentioned this before with the BTL. This is actually real BTL. It's not a chip. So that's a real amplifier. It's just really compact, and then they put a heat sink on the inside of the enclosure. And then let me show the enclosure. Here's one that got returned. They got a little effed up, but I'm sure we'll find a good home for it. This is MDF. It's not the highest quality, but it is good. And they have the stuffing in there. Of course, they don't need that, so that's all bullshit. We talked about that already. I still get people that argue with me. I'm like, you're an idiot. There we go. So, and I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm saying that because I was the idiot too. I used to believe that bullshit. So, and you can see the port on the side. It's probably going to have a little bit of chuffing, but again, this thing doesn't move that much air, so it's probably going to just sound fine. The only thing I can say that I would criticize about it is that the woofer is on the wrong side. So typically, when the slant is on this side and the flat side is here and the woofer's on this side, this is for like a trunk. Like you put it up against your back seat and it's good for that. What it's not good for is trucks. So on a truck, you want this side to face forward and then the seat's going to hit up against it, and then you want the woofer on this side. So if you're going to use it for a truck, don't use it. You might want to get something else. Or what I'd really like to see Recoil do is come out with another version with the woofer on this side for maybe plan B, and then also a little bit stronger subwoofer with a little bit stronger amplifier. Maybe that'll be version 2. And so then it comes with the grill that they sell. I'll put the link to the grill in the Amazon store. There'll be a link to this. You can buy them for $139 shipped, which is still a really good deal. And they actually sound pretty good. You'll find the quality is actually a lot better than something out there, especially for that price. Typically, you won't find anything in this price range unless it's like by DS18 or something like that. And then, even then, I would love to somebody else to report in on a product like that, and then open it up and look at the guts, and then show us and let us know. So, but immediately when I saw this, I was like, the carbon fiber wrap. So of course, it's not carbon fiber. This is vinyl. This reminds me of the Fierce, which again, the guys at Recoil did Fierce for Best Buy. I also imported their terminal. Let me see if I have one of those terminals. Let me pause it. So I actually, I think I still have the .com. It's like thebestboxterminal.com. And we were going to market it under that. However, some stuff happened with the website and I ended up not doing it. But we were going to market these for about $20 each, which is about par for what a shop sells them for. In fact, that's what we'll make the dealer price for them, since there's no badging on them, but for the Blackjack brand. And we went ahead and added the 0.185, yeah, 0.185 inch spades. They go on the back. It comes with screws, and then it comes with fuses. It does not come with a 40 amp, because typically a 40 amp in a micro, mini, or whatever this format is not very popular. You can get it from China, and there's a little instruction booklet that we just stole from the Fierce Audio one. Again, these were sold in Best Buy, and then it gives you the little thing, you know, how many watts are you running, and then what fuse you should use and what impedance you're running. So, and again, what happened was I think Rockford at the time when we got these, Rockford started putting the fuses built into the subwoofer. And but this comes with the gasket on the back and some other stuff. If you guys want to buy these, I'll do them for like $8 each. So if you see this video, otherwise they're going to sit in the store for $20 each, and that is thebestboxterminal.com. So for the most part, it is. So, and you can use it for home or car. It's just subwoofer spring terminals that we had welded back there, and then the positive side goes through the fuse. That's it. So, but that's the SWS12 review. Check it out. Let me know if you guys have any input or if you have any suggestions. We're always welcome to criticism, and we want your feedback. So I love you. I'll talk to you later.